Hi guys, this is Mac here, and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, which is called Mac Vlogs. I'm so excited and happy with this guest of mine who is live with me today because I'm meeting him almost after 35 years. Wow, it's a big, long time ago. We were little kids and we were hardly 8 years old when we met way back in Oman. So I'm so happy and excited to welcome him on Mac Vlogs, my YouTube channel today, and to discuss about his career. Why did he switch his career from being a MBBS doctor to a media and entertainment world? Because we all know the doctors tells us, right? The laughter is the best therapy to laugh and keep us happy. So let us welcome my friend, the managing partner and the co-founder of Plan B Media Group, Dr. Yasir Aqueel. Good evening, Dr. Yasir. How are you? So happy to see you.
Good evening. Yeah, the feeling's mutual. I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So excited, bro. Dunya is so small. I can say the world
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so small that it has connected against us after
yeah.
long, long, long
It's been a
time. Huh?
while now. It's been quite a while. It's been quite a while. And it's been a wild journey.
Yeah, I know. So,
We were in
how was
first
your
grade
journey
together.
from Oman to Pakistan and from being a doctor to running a production company in Pakistan? So, let's hear from you your views about your career switch from medicine to entertainment and the media. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and let's take this
So,
session in a lively way forward. Go ahead.
okay, so to start off with, medicine wasn't necessarily my first choice. It was my parents' choice, and everyone sort of convinced me to get into medicine. I said, well, so my dad was a banker, similar to your. I mean, both of our dads were bankers back where we grew up in Muscat,
Hmm.
and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a banker back then. And I've always had this little knack for finance and whatnot, and
Wow.
numbers were my thing, and I enjoyed that. But then, of course, when you're in your eighth grade and you're going to your ninth grade, and you have to pick a subject, and you've got to sort of make a decision into what sort of faculty you're going to end up in, and that happened to be science for me. Eventually, I landed a seat at the Mediaproductions University, where I went for the entirety of the sessions for about 5 odd years. After which I went into a internship program, which is the house job, as we like to call it here in Pakistan, where you get
Hmm.
your clinical experience, hands-on on actual patients, and with a slight bit of supervision, of course. And you're eligible to sort of apply elsewhere in the world as well as a bachelor of medicine and a bachelor of surgery. And
Hmm.
once I got into ophthalmology, which is the specialization in eyes, and which is what I supposed that I was going to do, I realized that this is not my cup of tea. So I did it for about 8, 9 months, roughly speaking. And then I realized I don't want to do this anymore. This is not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. Coincidentally,
Okay.
however, when I graduated from med school, my father threw a party. And there
Hmm.
was this gentleman, I specifically remember, his name is Umair. So I don't know where he is right now or what he's doing, but thanks to him, he came over to the party, and he was singing some songs, and he said, "Okay, Doc, you have a good voice. Why don't you get into radio?" And I laughed and I said, "Radio? Wow, I don't even know anything about radio." So anyway, and that was the time when coincidentally here in Pakistan there's a absolute explosion of new radio stations coming up, and I was coming back from my uncle's one day, my dad's car, and we put up these radio stations, and I heard this female's voice saying that if you think you have what it takes, and if you're man enough, I remember those words, then pop in, call me on this number, and schedule an interview and see if you have what it takes and if you have the metal.
Hmm.
And somehow, very stupidly so, and faithfully, I took it personally, and I said, "What do you mean? If I have the metal, I got what it takes." So I called in. I went in for a audition. I gave the audition. I get a call before I get home saying that I need to come in
Can
for
you tell
training.
my can you tell my audience which year was that when you gave that first audition of yours for your sweet voice?
This was 2003 or four.
Okay.
All right, and the next day they put me on air. So 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 12, I was on air with the lady who had called in for the audition. Her name is Chrisella, very,
Uh-huh.
very dear friend still, and still does radio. She's the queen of radio, as I like to call it. But then she left me alone for the next 2 hours. So 10 to 12, I was on radio with her. And then she said, okay, listen, so this is the panel and this is the equipment and this is how you operate it. And here's your playlist. And I've put up some stuff for you. So it'll give you a head start. And now for the next 2 hours, you're on your own. And I was a little bit overwhelmed, but naturally you got to keep your cool. And, I couldn't spoil my macho. I said, okay, so we'll deal with this. If this is how it is, then this is how we'll deal with it. And so for the next 2 hours, I was alone in that radio station booth. I walked out and I met Mr. Akbar Shehbaz, who was the station manager for Karachi at the time. And he said, well, young man, you've been hired.
Wow.
So let's sit down and chalk out what timings suit you. So we did.
When you were on air, what was the
Yeah.
dialogue or what was the script you were given to present yourself on air for those 2 hours? What was that?
Nothing. No one gives you anything. It's extempore.
Okay.
So
But then how
RJs
did
need
you
to be
begin?
there.
What was your intro about? Like, kaise apne aap ko pesh
Nothing.
kiya?
I just said who I am and that I'll be playing some songs for you. And I started talking about whatever I could come up with. I had written down 5 IDs. IDs are stuff like it's 3 o'clock and you're listening to FM 103. And my name is Dr. Yasir and I think we're going to play this next song now. So I wrote a couple of lines down like that immediately and frantically. And apart from that, I had no script. No one gives you a script. Well, at least I wasn't given a script because I just, I was thrown into the deep end of the pool from day one. And so that happened. After which, 6 months later, while I was still in RJ and I was doing my house job at JPMC, I met this gentleman at the radio station called Mr. Mujahid Barelvi. He'd come to visit a friend. And I was sitting there and I had longer hair, of course. And to begin with, I had hair.
Yeah, I
and they
remember.
were-
I remember.
And so he said, okay, do you want to be a newscaster? And I said, huh? And he said, khabre padhoge, which translates into, do you want to be a newscaster?
The
And-
news broadcaster. Was it in English or Urdu?
I don't as a subject, so I can't read fluently enough. So I couldn't read Urdu fluently enough to be a newscaster because you got to be able to read fluently. And I said I can't. And he said, well, I'm asking you to be an English newscaster. And he said, think about it. He gave me his card. He said, my name's Mujahid Barelvi. I work for the Indus TV network. Come in and see if you have what it takes. So you see, that sentence really, really challenged me. And so I went in. I called him up and I said, I'm coming. And I went there and he said, did you bring a suit? And I said, no. And he said, do you have a tie? I said, no. He said, okay, so there's a jacket over there. Find one your size. Put on a tie and we'll take you to the newsroom. So they did. And they told me what a teleprompter is. A teleprompter is something that you can scroll down and you can read the news off of and you can read your script. So they gave me a little paragraph to read. And I did. After which they said,
Can you tell me which news channel that was? Way long time ago when you were...
Indus News.
Okay, and that was in English, right? Basically, because you're such a beautiful
Indus
voice
News-
in English, which you have, right?
Indus
That's right.
News was actually a hybrid channel. They did, however, have a news bulletin in English at 8, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong
Okay.
because I never made it to the news, actually. 2 days later, I get a call from Mr. Barelvi who says, listen, Mr. Ghazanfar wants to see you. So I said, who's Ghazanfar? He said, you don't know Ghazanfar? I said, I don't know Ghazanfar. He said, how do you not know Ghazanfar? I said, because I don't know Ghazanfar. I've never met him. I don't know who he is. Why should I know Ghazanfar?
Okay.
And he goes, he's the owner of Indus Network. And I said, well, congratulations, but I still don't know him. I'll come and meet him. But I did. So Ghazanfar Saab is what we all lovingly like to call Baba. Baba is the father of the industry. He actually created or shaped the industry into what it is today. He gave birth to it.
Okay.
So, which is why we call him Baba. He's the father of the industry, and we deeply love and regard him to this day. And so anyway, he called me and he said, well, I want you to be a VJ. And I was like, what is a VJ? He said, you're going to be a video jockey and you're going to be playing songs for people and you can yap all day because you're already in RJ. So that's not a problem. And do you have 4 black t-shirts? I said, wait, hold on. So why do I want to be a VJ? You know, I mean, I came in audition for a newscaster, and all of a sudden I'm being asked to do something else. Give me the pros and cons. He said, listen, son, I'm going to make you this one offer, and I'm going to make it to you once. I don't have time for your crap. I said, what is that offer? And so he said, if you want to be a newscaster, I'm going to give you 8,000 rupees a month, and you're going to spend half the day here every day. I said, all right. And then he said, but if you become a VJ, I'll give you 30,000 rupees a month, and you come in for an hour, you do your show, and you don't show me your face for the rest of the week.
Wow. What's it just do? one day a week?
1 day a week, 1 to 2 hours, depending on how long it took me to do the show. So
interesting job. Interesting.
So I asked him, is there an option that I could maybe negotiate with you over the amount? He said, no, you take it or you get out of my office now. And obviously he gave me some very loving words that I can't say here. I'm assuming it's a family sort of an audience. So anyway, he obviously gave me some loving words. Yeah. And I said, okay, so where do I sign? So go over to the accounts. I'll call him up. Go and sign. I said, okay, all right. So I signed. And then this was 2 o'clock. I walked down. My parents were in the car and they said, so what happened? I said, well, they gave me a job for 30,000 rupees. And they said, for doing what? And this was eons ago. So 30,000 was a decent amount of money back then, you know?
Yeah.
And and I said, I'm going to be a VJ. And they said, what is that, beta? And I said, well, this is what they do. And they're like, what kind of work is that? I said, I don't know, but they're going to give me 30,000 rupees. I'm going to have to play music, talk about things that I like, have a good time primarily. So I'm in. And
so the entertainment in that 2 hours, 1 day a week, what else you want, right?
Yeah, and 2 hours were actually an overstatement because I used to do this linking show called Jazz Top 10. That show used to take, it was just links. So it would take us about an hour and a half to record. Post-production took a while. Of course, it was a weekly show. I did that. I did a couple of live shows in terms of concerts and stuff.
But I remember, I will take this forward a little bit as well, because I remember I've seen you on the TV for conducting a TV show as well as a host for Burger or the Bun Kebab, something like that.
Yeah.
There was
that was a year later. So a year later, everyone had been telling me, if you stick around too long, you'll become redundant. You need to leave.
Okay.
Just like everyone else leaves. Otherwise, you'll become redundant. Or they'll take you for granted. So anyway, I took that advice. I had an opportunity for a show called Burger Bhi Kabhi Ban Kebab Tha. It was a freelance project for Geo Entertainment.
I remember. That was an interesting concept, actually.
It was good fun. So that happened. My dear friend Myra called me up one day and he said, listen, what are you doing? And I said, yaar, kuch nahi.
You mean Myra Khan?
What?
You mean Myra Khan?
Mahira was also there at the time. But so I know her from then. But this was another Myra who used to be an actor, and she still is a very dear friend to date. So Myra called me up and said, listen, I need you to come and audition for something. I said, what is it? I was like, so she said that we've lost a host. We're going on roll from tomorrow. Can you do a show, or are you bound by a contract? I said, my contract just expired 3 days ago and I'm not in the mood to renew it. So she goes, right now, get in your car, come here, give the audition, talk about it, see if you like it, and then we'll make a decision. So I went. I got the job. The next day onwards, I was working freelance as a host for this show called Burger Bhi Kabhi Ban Kebab Tha on Geo TV. One thing led to the other, and eventually I started developing a interest in getting off screen.
Okay. How easy was it at that time for switching from one channel to the other, or doing one job to the other? Was it so allowable, or nobody had any issues at that time?
I was freelance, so I wasn't contractually bound to anyone.
Okay.
So I was just doing contractual jobs so we call it freelance. And so you hire me for something and I get paid for it and I do it and I leave. And then next time you need me again, I come back and I get the money and I do it and I leave again. So anyway, so that was happening. So I started working freelance. I did a couple of shows for Hum TV back then. Masala TV got launched and I did a couple of shows for them. And then I went to ARY and I did a couple of shows for them. So one thing led to the other. I was also doing voiceovers at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
and that started earlier in my career, and I was enjoying that. Sorry, I was enjoying that as well. So that was tremendously rewarding in terms of both satisfaction in terms of creativity and financially. So it's great,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I was having a ball. Money was flowing in, things were good. I had work. Life was good. Life is still good, alhamdulillah. But then I realized
Nice.
that I wanted to go behind the screens.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I enjoyed. Being on screen is a
Because when you're growing up, you want to explore yourself that time, right? So, but as you grow, then you want to be behind the camera rather than be in front of the camera. That's what you believe in, right?
well, it depends on who you are, actually. You see, I'm not
Okay.
the kind of person who enjoys being on screen because there's two problems that I have. One,
Okay.
I'm sort of a private person, so I don't like to be recognized on the street.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't know how to react. It's not like I dislike it. I'm just very awkward, you know. So I become like I'm an idiot. I'm a complete idiot when it comes to reacting to compliments or. But I
Hmm.
don't know how to react to that.
So
All right.
how do you mobilize in Pakistan if people know you, though you're behind the screen? Even the directors and actors or the producers, they are well-known personalities in our society over here in
I don't
Pakistan,
meet people.
especially in
I
DHA,
don't-
right?
Yeah, but I don't meet people.
Okay, no interaction at all.
Very rarely. Very rarely. So if I go on my own set, I don't talk to a lot of people. Only the concerned people, and they know. Okay,
Okay.
matlab, he's not a very social person. So I don't go out meet people. I just don't enjoy it. I couldn't be
You think
bothered
this
to be
is
honest.
you think this is a little bit laid back something of yours, or you feel
It's
that
not
it's
laid back.
because
I'll tell you why. You see, what I don't get myself to do is the fact that I can't dress up, go
okay,
somewhere, and listen to something that I don't enjoy, and
acha,
listen to people that I don't necessarily know beyond their scope of work.
okay.
All right. So it's not like I dislike them. It's just that I'm just very.
So you are being built like that way from all these years. You made yourself in a way that you when you want to express yourself, you are there. But if you don't, you're happy with it.
I'm okay by myself at home.
Hmm.
All right. I come back home to my family and that's it. So I have friends in and out of the industry that I meet not very regularly. All right. And it's not, I mean, it's not like I dislike it. It's just that I can't be bothered to dress up and get out and go somewhere and meet someone.
जो पहना है बस निकलो and enjoy.
I go to office in a t-shirt and shorts and chappals.
Everyone, that's the important thing to know. How the people, when they are so relaxed and they're enjoying their life with the work which they're so passionate about, the dress code doesn't matter, right? That's the
It
message, I
doesn't.
think, for all our youngsters out there.
I guess. I mean, I'm not encouraging them not to dress up properly for wherever they
But
need to go.
every profession requires different dress attires,
It
Well,
allows you certain liberties. The kind of industry that I'm in and the kind of work that I do, because I'm off screen, number one. So I don't, for example, so if my hair is short or long, or I don't have hair, if my beard is a certain way or it isn't a certain way, if my
mhm,
t-shirt is a certain way, or, it doesn't matter for me because technically speaking, I'm not public property. All right.
mhm,
I'm a
agree.
private person. But
Mhm.
when you're on screen, you are public property, and that's something I
Everybody wants to
realized.
meet you, be with you, talk to you when you're in public, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not like I'm some kind of star. It's just the fact that I just don't know how to deal with it. And early on, maybe one people out of 50 would recognize me and they'd be like, hey, listen, I've seen you somewhere. I'd be like, I don't know. And I just walk away. Or they'd be like, oh,
But then
listen,
how do you
you're that
but then
guy,
how do
right?
you
I'd be like,
tolerate
yeah.
sorry, but how do you tolerate the tantrums of the actors and actresses when they're on the screen and you're behind the screen and they don't listen to you?
Okay, you see, I have a very defined formula. The
Okay.
moment I hire someone,
Mm-hmm.
or we get into a collaboration where we're supposed to deliver something,
Mm-hmm.
I'll check. I'll do a background check on who they
Okay.
are. Are they
Okay.
professional? There's a couple of things that we do not, as a company, we do not tolerate on our sets. Number
Mm-hmm.
one is there cannot be any form of intoxicants or usage of intoxicants on our set. Once you
Okay.
leave the set, you're on your own, do whatever you feel like. Number two, there can't be any kind of harassment on sets. If there
Mm-hmm.
is, and we find out, and myself or my partner, we find out, we fire the person immediately.
So you
We
have
ask,
mentioned in your clause, the contract clause for whoever the directors you're hiring for any set of dramas and the ads and the movies which you're making, right? So they're very much clear on that.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So we have as far as the tantrums are concerned, you see, you do a background check on a lot of people, and okay, this is, for example, okay, Yasir has so and so problems, and so this is how you need to deal with them. You can do
Mm-hmm.
background checks on them. As far as the new people are concerned, the younger lot that comes in, we talk to them, and I tell them very clearly, hey, listen, these are the things that we'll tolerate. These are the things we will not tolerate. So Alhamdulillah, we haven't had too many problems. We've had a few along the years,
Around.
but we've been able to deal with them so far.
So how do you see our media industry, which you are been dealing with for quite some time now? So where do you see what we are lacking, and where do we see the future of Pakistan's media industry? Since your production company is very much active in making the Pakistani dramas, so it's very much appreciated whatever the dramas is coming on the TV. But about the content, can you talk a little bit on that as well, so people will know,
Sure.
okay, whether this industry is safe to be to start their own careers as well?
Okay, all right. You see, no industry is safe, and every industry is safe. So, and I'll tell you why I say this. You see, it depends on who you are and what kind of vibe you give people.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who are lawyers and bankers and doctors who are corrupt,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people in the media who are not corrupt. The only difference with our job and other jobs is the fact that we are in the business of propaganda slash we become public property. So our stars become public property, just like
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
you need to realize that every
Mm-hmm.
little move you make will be examined under a microscope. It does not
Okay.
depend on who you are in terms of what industry you belong to. So, for example, if you're a politician and that makes you public property, then you will be examined under a microscope. If you are a philanthropist and you are public property, then you will be examined under a microscope, and so on
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. So I believe that it's not about the fact that you're in media or media is safe or not safe. It's just the fact that it depends on who you are. I meet people who've had great experiences in media and who are educated people from good backgrounds who've had no trouble whatsoever in making it big without having to go through the proverbial casting couch that people talk about. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And then there are people who've offered people like myself and other counterparts of mine that, listen, I'll do anything you want me to do. All right. So it depends purely on who you are and how you want to achieve what you want to achieve.
Has production companies looked into promoting Pakistan through the lens? Because since we see we have a beautiful places to be shown, whether it's northern areas or the interiors of Karachi or the places where people don't know about internationally how beautiful Pakistan is. So through your lens, do you feel that in Pakistani dramas or the ads or the movies you can see show some sceneries and stuff? What do you have to say in promoting Pakistan through the tourism sector so that people will know how beautiful Pakistan is?
Well, you see, okay, I'll tell you, we do make dramas up north and we do make dramas here and there. But
Hmm.
primarily, I like to differentiate between the fact that we are a B2B business. Production
Okay.
companies are B2B businesses. We are not B2C.
Hmm.
The responsibility of the B2C is greater than the B2B, for the simple
Okay.
reason that the broadcaster in our ecosystem, the broadcaster is technically the bridge between us and the final consumer. The
Okay.
broadcaster decides the serving.
Hmm.
All right, and we are told by the broadcaster, so listen, this is what all I want, and this is what all I will plug in,
Hmm.
and I need you to feed me on these and these and these lines. All right. We do pitch them, for example, I'll pitch them a horror movie. But if they say, listen, I got enough horror movies, I need you to make me a romance.
Okay.
And that's what I'll do. Because at the end of the day, my business is a B2B business. All right. I don't directly cater to the consumer. I have a bridge between the production company and the final consumer, which is the audience. And that bridge is what decides, or who decides what to serve. This is as far as the conventional or television medium is concerned. Now coming to the digital media, you see,
Mhm.
with the explosion of digital in Pakistan over the last 4 years, 5 years, I would say, what's happened is you don't need you. It's the time for content creators, not production companies. So, for
Okay.
example, you are a YouTuber, all right?
Hmm.
If a production company were to do a vlog, then our expenses would skyrocket.
Agree.
All right. So that's
Agree.
the difference between a producer and a content creator.
Hmm.
A content creator like yourself is not dependent on the infrastructure that a producer needs, which
Okay.
means that you operate on a very different business model
Platform.
from what we
Hmm.
operate on.
Okay. I see. So if you require these content creators for, because as you know, that a lot of bloggers and vloggers and the content creators, when their videos become so viral, production house would like to show their talent and the face on this on screen as well, right? So how does
Yeah.
that happen?
Okay. So, for example, you remember that guy who said "Maro mujhe maro."
Ah,
All right, during the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, Pakistan was on tour. Anyway, I don't watch a lot of cricket, but anyway, so that guy is now acting.
same thing. We can talk about this little girl. Just few days ago or maybe
Yes,
few
her
weeks
name is
ago, she just
Anani.
did a video at
Yes,
party or yeah, so that also
yes,
became viral. That's why.
yes, absolutely. And I know for a fact, I've been told actually, I don't know for a fact, but I was told by a friend that she also sings very well. I'm assuming that she might also be acting in a little while, or is already maybe engaged in some kind of acting already. So you see, what's
Mhm.
happening is that we're sucking a lot of content creators into the production business, or
Mhm.
rather, the acting/singing or the conventional mediums. So
I see.
we're losing touch with what gave them that fame. Hania Amir was, I believe, discovered through Dub Smash or TikTok. Now,
Okay.
mashallah, she's doing well. She's a great star. She's acting. She's doing a whole bunch of stuff. So
Hmm.
with these content creators, then they get sucked into the pool of actors and singers that we already have, and they become mainstream then. Which is
I
the
see.
which is the progression for any kind of format. You see, an underground band will perform underground till it's actually discovered and becomes so big that it becomes a mainstream band. That's the only bifurcation we have in music or anything else for that matter. So it's a very natural progression. They will come in, they will be content creators, and then they will graduate into their roles as they grow bigger.
So do we see Dr. Yasir on TikTok and other social media apps and stuff doing just a
Yeah,
little bit
okay. So when the
acting?
lockdown started, I didn't have much to do last year. So I figured
Mhm.
maybe I will download TikTok, and I did. And I did make a few videos, and I put them up. Uh, but then the lockdown ended, and we were back to work, and that was it.
So
End
what
of
was
TikTok.
the reaction of the family and the friends of yours watching Dr. Yasir on TikTok coming back on screen from behind the screen a little bit for time being? What was the reaction?
Well, it was fine because you see, I'm not completely off screen, so I do model at times, and I do act once in a blue moon, just to keep it alive. Have a little bit of fun once in a while. It is
So
also.
are you saying in the world of yours in front of the screen, you don't need the age. It's all about the looks or it's about the
No,
confidence.
you see, you have to fit into a certain bracket. So you have young boys, you have their elder brothers as characters, you have their older friends, you have their uncles, you have their fathers. So right from, from Sheroz, for example, to Behroz Bhai,
Till his father.
you have them all.
Mhm.
So Shahroz is a young guy, and he plays the leading man and the romantic guy and the funny guy and so on and so forth. But Behrouz Bhai, his father, he does other characters. So it's not about age; it's about having the knack for it.
But in India, you call that a nepotism. What do you call it in Pakistan if you have something like father and son in the same industry?
Well, I don't. You see, it's not about. As far as I'm concerned, to be very honest, it's not about nepotism. I'll tell you why. In our industry, particularly in our industry, because you see, no matter where you are in India, even in India, you can have a shortcut. Maybe you can get introduced to someone.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. Fardeen Khan didn't make it. Why?
Who?
Because you see, at Fardeen Khan, he never made it big.
Fardeen Khan. Yeah, Feroz Khan's son, right?
Feroz
Yeah,
Khan's son. All right, we
yeah,
knew Feroz Khan. Feroz Khan was huge, but
yeah.
Fardeen didn't make it big. Why? Because the public just didn't accept him. So you
Hmm.
see, no matter what amount of nepotism you want to blame it on, at the end of the day, the public needs to be able to respond to you as an individual rather than who your dad was. For example,
Agree.
again, Abhishek is not half the star that his father is or was.
Some of them, like you can. Let's not talk about Bollywood because this is not about Bollywood. It's about Pakistan's media. So yeah,
Sure.
coming back to
But
that.
you see, even in Pakistan, anywhere, you see, the case is anywhere in the world. Our business is cutthroat. Why? I'll tell you. You see, if you assume for the moment that you're an accountant and you don't know anything about accounts, you can still get help from your father, your friend, or your colleague and say, listen, I don't understand this. Can you help me out? And they can help you out a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and they can somehow push you into a role where you'll sort of fit in. Maybe you won't excel at it, but you'll survive.
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
But in acting or in a career where you are in the public limelight,
Domain, public domain.
then you don't get a second chance. If it's bad, they will spit you out. If it's good, they will lap you up. So
So am
it's
I allowed
very,
to give
very
a? So am I allowed to give an audition to you if I am in your office tomorrow?
tomorrow is Sunday, but yeah, why not day after?
Just to humor, just to add a humor, basically,
Sure,
because
man.
you
You're
just
always
mentioned
welcome.
it's all about the
Always.
talent. So I was just thinking that maybe just how you switched your career from medicine to the media. I was just thinking since I'm into digital world like
Mhm.
advertising and branding, let's go in front of the camera and just show and be a voice for someone in terms of giving the others the confidence, like which is lacking in
Sure.
our society a little bit. So I just thought to ask you that is it possible of changing the career at this time of age and the we are in?
Yeah, I believe everything's possible whenever you want to do it. I mean, Colonel Sanders was what, 65 when he started KFC? So there's
Hmm.
a ton of examples. I mean, at the risk of sounding completely, a lot of messengers got their messages late. All right. So
Yeah.
this is God's way of telling us that you will bloom into who you are to become at any point in life. It doesn't depend on how old you are or where you are in terms of your situation, but it can turn around like that. Uh, you just have to be positive, be completely devoted to it, and be confident about the fact that yes, I am going to do this. And this is something that I've learned with experience. So if you can take a leap of faith and you can trust in your God, and you can say, listen, I'm going to do this because you're going to help me do this, and I will do this, and I will achieve this, and I will get to the other side of where I need to be, then he will help you. This is the theory of dua. This is the theory of uh, positivity. It's the theory of the universe conspiring to give you what you want. Call it what you want, but that is how the universe works.
Agreed. See you on Monday morning then.
I'll see you then. I'll see you for sure.
Okay, before we wrap up our session, it was a wonderful and amazing experience of mine to catch up with you after 35 years on screen. So it's going to be
Wonderful, man.
amazing to have you
Feelings
again
mutual,
on my
bro.
show on a different
Sure.
topic for sure, for sure. So
Absolutely.
I would like a big shout out from Dr. Yasir Akeel about Mac Vlogs. If he's following my channel, if he hasn't subscribed, please go and
I have.
press the
I have. I
subscribe.
have.
Okay,
I
so
have. I
nice
have.
of you. Okay, so a big shout out, definitely Banta to hai from Dr. Yasir.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Why not? Well, guys, I've had a blast doing this. I've had a blast in the previous interviews, and the best part about the vlog session is that you get a diverse kind of people, or for a diverse audience. So if you are interested in finding out what other people are doing in different parts of the world, in different roles, in different characters, and in different walks of life, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of whenever the new vlog is coming up, and we'll all watch this together.
Amazing. Thumbs up to you and all the audience and followers. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't waste your time. Just go and press the subscribe button and the bell icon for all the notifications of my latest and upcoming videos, so that you can get to see all the great content I'm keep on bringing up with the different guests of mine. So it's really amazing to have people like Dr. Yasir, who is a great buddy for me. Thank you so much once again. So let's wait
Pleasure,
and
man.
watch
Pleasure. Thank you for having
who
me.
my upcoming guest would be. So, and enjoy MacVlogs. Keep watching, keep subscribing, guys. I really need your support. So thank you so much once again. See you on Monday again with a little
I'll
bit
see
of
you Monday.
humor.
I'll see you Monday.
Take care. Salam to everybody at your end and your family, and keep smiling and keep working hard, because you are meant to be for that. Okay?
Thank you, man.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.